Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Delaware County Sunday worship service. I am Mark Bernstein. And when you get to be my age and are a member for 27 years, you get to lead your very own Sunday worship service. And I am thrilled and honored to be able to do so. But I'm not doing this alone. I have help. On the other side of the glass is our tech manager, Adam Patrick Dole. And the beautiful music today will be played for us by our own Joy Thiessen. If you are new to UUCDC, we welcome you. Please also check in on the church website so that we have a way to keep in touch with you. And if you haven't already done so, please rename yourself in Zoom to reflect who you are, unless, of course, you are wanted in several states, in which case you will probably want to remain anonymous. I want to remind you that you can follow the service with closed captioning. Wherever you are on your device, look for the CC symbol or audio transcript, live transcript. Any one of those, clicking the button will enable you to follow on closed caption. And I also want to let you know that we will have a virtual coffee hour following the service. So please feel free to stay with us and chat with your fellow congregants and friends. Now let us begin our worship service by reciting our covenant together. Enriched by our differences and joined together in our search for meaning, we covenant with ourselves and each other to seek truth in a spirit of love, to strive for justice, and to serve others with a joyful heart. If you have a chalice wherever you are, I invite you to light it now as I light mine. And I will read the chalice lighting words. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our power to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse. Please join us now as we sing our centering song led by the UUCDC Virtual Choir.
There
Each week, we are asked to share those significant aspects of our lives, both joyful and sorrowful, that occupy our thoughts. Please do so first by sharing in the chat the joys in your life from the past week. Life is hard, and the sharing of our trials and tribulations with one another helps to smooth the difficult road just a bit. Please now in the chat share your sorrows from the past week. Thank you, Joy. Thank you all. And now let's join together and sing our official UU anthem, Meet the Mets. No, I'm just kidding. It's, of course, Spirit of Life. Our Share of the Plate recipient for the month of May is Anna's Place. Anna's Place is a food pantry helping homeless senior citizens and those suffering from mental illness in the west end of Chester. You can donate by texting. For example, send, say, $20 to the phone number on the screen, for a $20 donation. Your transaction will be completed on your phone once your donation amount is received. And thank you as always for your generosity. Thank you, Joy. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was Chopin. This morning's reading is from Albert Einstein. The most beautiful emotion we can experience is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of all true art and science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead, a snuffed out candle. To sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our minds cannot grasp, whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly. This is religiousness. In this sense, and in this sense only, I am a devoutly religious man. So ends the reading.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
That was beautiful, Joy. Thank you so much. It reminds me of the days when I used to play piano for the New York Philharmonic. Oh, no, wait, that was Marvin. This time, I had writer's block before I started writing. I was struggling with how to begin this spiritual message. And so I went to my wife, whose opinion I trust very much, and I asked her what she thought of when I said the word awe. She pondered this for a few moments and said, puppy dogs. Puppy dogs, I responded. Why puppy dogs? Well, she said, whenever I see puppy dogs, I go, aw. No, no, I said, that's not what I mean. Oh, she continued, do you mean the sound you make when a doctor looks down your throat? No, I sighed, that's ah. I could tell that Deb was having fun with me. Well, then you must mean a conjunction used to link two alternatives. No, I was almost screaming now. That's or, as in either you help me with this, Debbie, or you can leave me to my misery. I love my wife, but sometimes she is just no help. Awe is a deeply misunderstood emotion, and yet most of us experience it every day, sometimes several times a day. Reverend Janet Parsons of the Gloucester Unitarian Universalist Church in Massachusetts defined it this way. Awe is our response to a glimpse of something that is greater than ourselves. And as we experience that glimpse, the night sky, a bird that reminds us of a dinosaur, music that makes us weep, we can understand better how we are just one small part of the whole of the universe. You might be the star of your own life, but you are sharing the stage with countless other lives across time and space. This sense of wonder, this sudden realization that there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that is at the core of awe. On February 18th of this year, I turned away from my perpetual Zoom meetings and looked to the sky, or more specifically to a NASA live stream, to witness the Mars landing of the rover Perseverance. It turns out that during the descent, Mission Control at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California was not controlling Perseverance. It was literally on its own about 39 million miles away from Earth. Now, communications from Earth to Mars take about 12 minutes. So scientists had to have confidence that they had prepared Perseverance for any eventuality and that it could navigate to a precise spot on the Martian surface, open a parachute at supersonic speed, deploy rockets to guide the descent, and withstand temperatures of more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. An infinite number of things could have gone wrong out there, but they didn't. Somehow, this human-made machine defied the odds. Imagine that. This feat, this overcoming of incomprehensible distances and even greater odds, is what creates feelings of awe. It's an emotion that alters our understanding of the world and changes our perspective. It often leaves us breathless at what is possible. To be in awe is to have an overwhelming amount of respect or admiration for someone or something, sometimes to the point of feeling nervous or fearful around them or it. In 1980, a professor and psychologist with the non-lyrical name of Robert Plutchik created what he called a wheel of emotions. He considered there to be 8 basic emotions: trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, anticipation, and joy. Adding up or combining these primary emotions in turn produce new ones. For example, anticipation and joy combine to produce optimism. Joy and trust combine to produce love. And for our purposes, surprise and fear combine to produce awe. Now, one can understand how the emotion of surprise can elicit feelings of awe. When we experience awe, we often say words like wow, or our mouth drops open. But fear, why is the emotion of fear considered when we are looking at a beautiful sunset or watching a toddler take her first steps? It is, I believe, because awe enables us to understand our place in the universe, to come to the realization that we are infinitesimal, a microscopic part of something that is so much bigger than ourselves, and that this larger and sometimes incomprehensible world is filled with unknowns and things that go bump in the night, that we are fearful of what we are not fully capable of understanding, but in awe of its potential. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel writes that the meaning of awe is to realize that life takes place under wide horizons, horizons that range beyond the span of an individual life or even the life of a nation, a generation, or an era. Awe moves us to tears and moves us to wonder and moves us to embrace the mystery of our very being, of our very lives. The transcendental phenomenon of awe has also, not surprisingly, been the subject of a great deal of scientific research. Studies show that taking the time to experience awe can be a pathway to improving our lives and our relationships. Awe can improve our mood, has long-term health benefits, can help us to think more critically, and may even decrease materialism. One study concluded that the experience of awe elevates people from their day-to-day concerns, which often focus on the desire or need for money. Awe can also instill a greater sense of humility in us. Studies show that people who are more prone to experience awe felt more humility and were rated as more humble by friends and loved ones. Awe can even make us more generous and cooperative, perhaps because of the way it encourages us to focus less on ourselves and more on the world around us. Researchers Paul Piff and Dr. Keltner conducted a study back in 2015 in which people were given lottery tickets that would be entered in their name for a cash prize drawing. Each person was told that the tickets were theirs to keep, but they could elect to share a portion of the tickets with another unidentified person who did not receive any tickets. Participants who reported experiencing more awe in their lives, who felt more regular wonder and beauty in the world around them, were more generous to the stranger. They gave approximately 40% more of their tickets away than did participants who did not report awe-inspiring experiences in their lives. And finally, awe can help us to feel more connected to one another. For those who have been to General Assembly, the awe-inspiring feeling of sharing space and music and ideas with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists is often beyond words. In this congregation and UU congregations across the country, even during this time of physical isolation from one another, singing Spirit of Life or sharing the joys and sorrows expressed by our fellow congregants can induce a sense of awe. Through our collective rituals, joint celebrations, music, and yes, even sermons, awe helps shift our focus from our narrow self-interest to the interests of the group to which we belong. Awe helps bind us to others, motivating us to act in collaborative ways that enable strong, cohesive communities, and yes, even that elusive, beloved community. And it is in considering this concept of awe that finally we have something that atheists and theists, humanists and spiritualists can share. There is as much awe in understanding how an electric car works as there is in watching water cascade down a mountaintop. A scientist and a mystic took a walk together one beautiful fall morning. After a while, they came upon a large tree. The scientist was feeling a little tired and asked if they might pause for a few moments to take a rest. The mystic agreed, and they sat next to each other, backs leaning against the tree trunk. As they sat, their conversation gradually dwindled, eventually settling into silence. Eventually, the mystic asked the scientist, "What are you thinking about?" The scientist responded, "I'm just sitting here thinking about how amazing this tree is. It lives and thrives while remaining in one place without moving. It takes sunlight and converts it into energy, which feeds the whole food chain. They take carbon dioxide out of the air and produce oxygen for us to breathe. And while I don't imagine it means that much to the trees, I think it's pretty cool how the weather getting colder is a signal to the trees to cease producing and maintaining the chlorophyll, which is green. And so as the green fades, we get these brilliantly colored leaves that I so much appreciate. All in all, trees are pretty amazing, scientifically speaking." The mystic took all this in quietly, listening. After a brief pause, the scientist said, "I shared what I was thinking. It's your turn now. What are you thinking about?" The mystic responded, "Well, I've been sitting here communing with the tree, and it's been wonderful. I've been resting my hands on its bark and wondering at how something so immobile and rigid can simultaneously also be so alive. I've been feeling connected to the energy of the tree and the earth in which it's rooted. I've been listening to the breeze, rustling the tree's leaves and appreciating the gentle, almost musical whisper. I also noticed the marvelous patterns of light and shadow dancing on the leaves from the sunshine filtering through. When you asked, I was musing about how much the tree has observed over the many years it's been here. How many people might have sat with their backs against it, just as we are now? How many children might have played on or near it? And while I didn't know until you just shared it, that the orange of the leaves was already there and was simply masked by the green, I too was appreciating the brilliant colors of the fall leaves." The scientists took all this in quietly, listening. They sat in silence a little while longer, then helped each other to their feet and continued on their way. Choosing to experience awe in our lives is intentional. We can take a walk on a beautiful late winter evening and constantly look down as we walk, watching our steps so as not to slip and fall on the ice. Or we can look up and around and notice the sights and sounds of everything around us. We can accept events as they occur in our lives, or we can wonder about them and their meaning in our lives. Albert Einstein again wrote, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle." We experience awe when we are open to life and opened up by life. What are you in awe of? Is it the kindness of a neighbor, the courage of a firefighter, or the harmony of people singing? Is it the gentle falling of snow on an open field, the brilliantly colored wildflowers along the side of a busy highway, or the inspiring message of a Sunday sermon? Is it the ability of a center fielder to settle under a long fly ball, the composer to create a stirring piece of music, or the author to write yet another bestseller? Is it the fury of nature unleashing storms, the sacrifice of heroes like Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, or the spine-tingling encounter with a spirit or a ghost? Michelle Chioda is a social psychology professor at Arizona State University. She writes, "How often you experience awe depends on your mindset, how open you are to the novel and unexpected in your environment, whether you choose to seek out extraordinary experiences, how much you attend to the wonder and beauty present in everyday life. These all help create moments of seeing the world as a beautiful and amazing place." Before I end this message, I want to offer you an awe-inspiring experience, something that we can experience together. While this was a political ad during the recent election, it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you may sit in order to enjoy this. And admittedly, while our country has much to improve on, we can also appreciate what we do have. You may want to pump up the audio as long as you're not disturbing your neighbor in listening to this.
Oh, beautiful, vast, spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties.
My friends, may you experience awe this day and all the days of your life. Thank you for listening. And now please join me in singing our closing hymn, "Come and Go With Me." Thank you. Let's join together in extinguishing our chalices with the words on the screen. Although we now extinguish our chalice flame, may we hold its warmth in our hearts in all the days ahead. I want to offer my heartfelt thanks to Adam for his technical and emotional support, and to our own Joy for her beautiful music and emotional support. I want to remind you that we will have a virtual coffee hour immediately following the service, so please stay around for a little bit to join us. And now please join me in holding hands virtually and unmuting. Let the chaos begin as we recite together the words of our benediction. For those who come here
Come to
seeking
seeking
God,
God.
may God go with you. Those who come
Embracing life, I turn your affection.
And for those who come to
Seek a
seek
path. May that way be found.
courage to take it.
By step.
By step.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks very much, Mark, and
You
have a
too.
week, everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
Look,
Thank you,
Greg's on
Joy.
Mars.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Adam.
Wonderful service, everybody.
Yes, it was. Thank you, everybody, and have a good weekend.
Hi, Sarah.
Take care, friends.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Join.